Hi, it's Carlina from Daily Inspired Life. I wanted to pop in today and talk to you about an interesting comment that I received from one of our readers. This particular reader is a friend of mine, so I was talking to them about the stories that get shared, and they gave me some very interesting feedback, and that was, oh, I don't read those stories or comment on them anymore because I found they weren't very inspiring. Because the people sharing the story weren't doing anything so amazing or extraordinary. They hadn't really been through that much, and that he had been through a lot more himself. So therefore, just didn't find that they were giving to him what he needed or what he expected from the stories. And I find any feedback really interesting, and I thought, okay, well, this is... It was really interesting to me because one of the things with Daily Inspired Life is that I try and showcase the everyday stories of people. To me, there's extraordinary in the ordinary. Every single person has a story, and every single person I meet or hear their story, I learn something from. So it was really interesting for me to hear this other perspective, and it got me thinking whether other people feel that way as well. But I think what it got me thinking about is why these stories can be so powerful, regardless of whether you've been through trauma yourself, or you've been through something that you think you've been through more than somebody sharing their story. And that is because every story reflects back to you something that you need to hear. It doesn't matter what the story is, it's like a mirror that if you're brave enough to look into it, it's going to tell you and teach you something. And I use the word brave, and why do we have to be brave to do this? And because sometimes there's things about ourselves, I'm talking about myself too, there's things about myself that I don't really acknowledge or see in myself until it's reflected back at me through a story or through somebody's conversation, or and sometimes we don't want to hear what these stories reflect back to us. Sometimes it's a beautiful image, other times it's something that we might be triggered a little bit by, or we might not be so comfortable with it. But there's a reason for that, and that is because when we grow, it can be uncomfortable. And if we approach these stories with that mindset, we are going to grow, but it isn't always going to be comfortable. So if I use my friend's comment as an example of him saying that these people haven't been through that much, if I was to look at it with a deeper lens, really look deeply into that, I would say that perhaps he's saying that in order to be read, in order to be heard, in order to be acknowledged, you have to do something extraordinary, or you have to suffer deeply or go through something huge in order to be worthy of being acknowledged. And to me, that's a huge pressure to have on your shoulder. That's saying that you have to be that in order to be acknowledged. So perhaps if he looked at his own life, there's areas where he's putting a lot of pressure on himself, where if he stood back just as he is and saw how amazing he was, thought how far he's come and where he's been, can you imagine how much lighter he would feel in his day-to-day living? And then as he lightened that load and that expectation and had more acceptance and approval of himself, gave himself more grace and ease as he walked through life, he then gives that to others as a gift. That is just an example, and that's just one way I was able to look at it, to sort of look at it at a different angle. And of course it's up to each individual to look at the story themselves to see what they can draw. But I wanted to share that as a little example. Maybe when you've seen these stories you've thought, oh, they're not that inspiring, or this person hasn't done anything so grand. To me, we did something grand the day we were born. And if we open our hearts up to that, every single story that comes past your desk is worthy of being read, it's worthy of being opened, and it's worthy of delving a little bit deeper so you can take something from it to enhance your life, to make your life more beautiful. It will, I promise you it will, if you open your heart and open it up. Get out your pen, journal. Sometimes I'll leave questions, answer the questions. But you have to be brave and you have to be willing to actually do that. So next time the story comes past your desk, I would absolutely love to hear what you get from it, what you take from it. There's always a comment section at the bottom of the story. Come in there, let's start to interact, let's hear what other people have got to say, what they've learnt from it. And I really hope you've enjoyed this message today, and you've also got something from it. We'll see you in the next issue. Bye.